Okay, so today's lesson has two vocabulary phrases in it. The first one is alternate interior angles, and the other vocab word is alternate exterior angles. So look at those two vocab words. The only difference is the word interior versus exterior. So the same as alternate and angles, alternate and angles. So what are these things? Let's start with alternate interior angles. Okay, so we've got two parallel lines cut by a transversal. Okay, now yesterday we learned about corresponding angles. So a corresponding angle, if this was one of the angles, the corresponding angle to this one would be this one down here, because they're both in the lower left corner of their four-angle group. Okay. Alternate interior angles are these two, is one pair of alternate interior angles, and the other pair is these two. So now, what makes these alternate interior angles? You got to know this, okay? So here's what it is. Ready? You've got two parallel lines, and you've got a transversal. Let's start with the word interior, okay? What does that mean? Here's what it means. Think about the parallel lines as a pipe, okay? Let's say with water running through it, okay? So this is like the inside of a pipe, like water is running through the pipe this way, okay? So that's how you're thinking of the pipe. Notice that both of these angles are on the inside of the pipe. That's what the word interior means, inside. So both of these angles are inside the pipe, okay? So that's the first thing you got to see. So notice that there are actually four angles inside the pipe, though. 1, 2, 3, 4. So why these two are the alternate interior angles? Well, because they are on opposite sides of this transversal. So if you see this line that cuts through the pipe, this one is on the left side of that line. Right? If you see this line is breaking it into two sections. This one's on the left, and this one's on the right. Right? The other side. This one's on the right. So that's what the word alternate means. It means on opposite sides, alternate sides, right? And the third thing is, they're both angles, of course, but the third thing is that they're the same size, right? For instance, these two angles are on alternate sides and are inside, but those are not the same size angles. So these two are. All right, so again, to sum up the three things, they are inside the pipe. They're inside. They are on opposite sides of the transversal, or alternate sides, and they're the same size. They're congruent to each other. So if you look over here, these meet the same criteria. They're both inside the pipe, right? If this is the pipe, they're both inside of it. Okay. They're on opposite sides of this line, right? If this is this line here, there's this one side, and this angle's on that side. And then there's another side, and this angle is on that side. And they're the same size. So those are the three things that need to be true. Inside the pipe, on opposite sides of the line, and the same size. Those are called alternate interior angles. So this is a pair of alternate interior angles, and this is another pair. This is advanced stuff. If you can picture that, if you can get your head around that, you know, you should be proud of yourself. This is moving forward, okay? So if you understand that, then let's move to alternate exterior. It's the same idea. The only difference is the word exterior. So let's take a look here, okay? We've got parallel lines cut by a transversal. Now look at the pipe now. If this is the pipe of water running through it, okay, the water is running right through. Look at these angles. They're on the outside of the pipe, right? Exterior, okay? They're on the outside. Alternate means that they are on alternate sides or opposite sides of this line. So again, if you just look at this line here, it's got a left side. And notice this angle is on that left side. But notice this angle is on the opposite side of that little wall or that line, right? So they're on opposite sides, and they're the same size as each other, okay? So that's it. So just look. On the outside, look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 angles on the outside. These two are the same size, okay? They're on the opposite sides. All right, let's come over here. Same thing. Both of these angles are outside of the pipe. They're on opposite sides of the transversal. There's on the bottom side, and here's on the top side. And they're the same size. So these are called alternate exterior angles, and these are called alternate exterior angles, okay? Again, tough to see. You got to get used to the language. All right. So now let's move on to the lesson using these ideas, okay? So first of all, let's come here to number 1, okay? It says below lines A and B are parallel. So here's A, here's B. And first of all, it says explain why angles 1 and 3 are alternate interior. So look at 1 and look at 3. And first of all, it says explain why they are alternate interior. So it's telling you that they are. So you need to say 3 things. 1, look at them both. If this is the pipe, they're both inside that pipe. So reason 1, they are inside the parallel lines. Okay, that's 1. Number 2, look, if this is the transversal, right? Angle 3 is on the left side of the transversal. Angle 1 is on the right side. So number 2, they are on opposite sides of the transversal. Okay? And 3, the third reason is they are congruent, which means they are the same size, right? Like, for instance, if this one is 55, so is this one. Okay, they are congruent. Okay, so those are the 3 reasons. Cross out part 2. We're not going to do that. Let's come down to part 1 of number 2. It's the exact same thing here. So it says, explain why angles 1 and 3 are alternate interior. So look, 1, 3. Pause the video and try to explain. Use the 3 ideas from up here. Okay, so you paused, and now let's go through the reasons. Why are 1 and 3 alternate interior? 1, they are both inside the parallel lines. Here's the pipe. Two, they are on opposite sides of the transversal. Here's the transversal. This one's on the left side. This one is on the right. And 3, they are congruent. Okay, they're the same size. So again, if this one's 130, so is this one. Okay? Now, come down here, last one on this page. Explain, and so again, skip part 2. We're not doing that, and we're not doing that for homework either. Part 1, explain why angles 1 and 3 are alternate exterior. So look, 1 and 3. This one's kind of weird. But anyway, let's look at the pipe. Here's the pipe. What can you tell me about these 2 angles? They're on the outside of the pipe, right? So that's reason 1. They are outside the parallel lines. 2. Look, see the transversal? This angle is on this side of the transversal, right? And this one's on the other side. So they are on opposite sides of the transversal. And lastly, 3, they are congruent. Again, they're the same size. If this one's 60, so is this one. Okay, so they are congruent. That's it, okay? So the only difference between the description of the alternate interior and the alternate exterior is reason 1, okay? So for exterior, they are outside the parallel lines, and for alternate interior, they are inside the parallel lines. The other two are identical. They have to be on opposite sides of the transversal, and they are congruent, okay? So that's how you do this first section. It's just getting you to know the definition of these and saying the definitions over and over in application to certain problems. All right, now let's flip to the back. This is the same type of activity as we did yesterday, but now in addition to supplementary and corresponding and vertical, now we've got alternate interior and alternate exterior as reasons things can be congruent. So here we go. Okay. So again, we're finding the measure of angle 1 first using A. Then we're going to find the measure of angle 2, and then we're going to find the measure of angle 3. So we've got our chart, and we're going to say facts and reasons. All right. So, number 1, what's the measure of angle 1? Using this. Well, we see that these two here are supplementary, okay? So we do a little math over here, 180 minus 102, and we get 78. So this one is 78. So we say the measure of angle 1 is equal to 78 degrees. And how do we know that? Because it's supplementary to angle A. Angle A. Okay? Now next, we need to do 2. Okay, so over here we're going to get set up. Measure of angle 2 equals. Okay, now let's figure out what it is. Well, let's take a look here. Look, it's on the inside of the pipe. They're on opposite sides of this transversal, and they're the same size. So guess what? The measure of angle 2 is also 78, and it's because it's alternate interior to angle 1. Alternate interior to angle 1. Okay? And now let's go to 3. Let's label these. 78 and 78. All right, what about angle 3? Well, look, you got to use angle 2 here. It is supplementary. So again, 180 minus 72, and that is 102. I'm sorry, minus 78, which is 102. Okay, so the measure of angle 3 is equal to 102. Why? Because it's supplementary to 2. Okay, and we're done. So again, we have to get measure of angle 1 first, then 2, then 3, and we're only allowed to use the previous angle. So to get angle 2, you have to use 1. And you're stating the reason over here. Remember, here are the possible reasons, okay? They could be supplementary. They could be vertical. They could be corresponding. Alternate interior. Or alternate exterior. All right? That's a lot of things. There's 5 different possible reasons over here. All right? So go ahead. That's the end of this video. I'm going to stop it here. I want you to do 5 and 6. And then if you have time remaining, start on the homework, which is a very similar exercise. Okay? I'll leave this up if you want to pause it.